What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Mukudo and Magic Square Truck Boy, or their version of a super deformed Optimus Prime. Now, we have gotten many super deformed Optimus Primes over the years, but not a lot that actually transforms into a truck, hence the name Truck Boy. And that is a kind of a cool little feature. Now, I actually was not necessarily going to get this, but thanks to Matt Partsformer, who is allowing me to take a look at this before I send it off to him. So I appreciate that. And let's take a look first at the paint. We do have some paint on it. You have silver here on the head crest, metallic blue for the eyes and the chest, painted yellow here for the lights on the top, yellow here for the hip skirts, silver here for the feet, or for the knees, a little bit of silver right here on the toe. Coming to the back, there isn't really anything until we get to vehicle mode. You'll see the vehicle mode paint. But there is a little bit, so there you go for that. And it is very blocky and chunky, mainly due to the fact that it has to transform. Let's take a look at his articulation. The head can rotate around, goes down to there, up to there. That is quite limited compared to what I would expect for a head. I mean, you can get the head back on this panel, but I was definitely expecting a little bit more out of the head just because that's the main feature of this figure. But continuing on, the shoulders rotate around on a mushroom joint, I think, mushroom peg. Out to the side, it's a double hinge, so you can hinge this down or up. And you also have a butterfly joint that hinges outwards. There is some hardware on here that we'll show you during the transformation, but it doesn't really make sense why it's there. And I have a theory, but I'm not 100% sure. So we'll talk about that when we get there. But your rotation at the bicep at a cut joint, 90-degree head bend at the elbow, rotation at the wrist. Coming down to the waist, you have a waist rotation. There is no ab crunch. The way it's designed, it pegs in down here. So it's not really an easy way unless you untransform it. So if we detach this from here, we can probably get a little bit of ab crunch, but it ends up looking really strange. So I don't know if I would count that. I don't think that's ab crunch. All right, continuing down, we have a leg. Hip joint goes up to there. It's kind of forward, so it looks a little weird just because it's towards the front of him. And then back, you really don't get anything. It just goes up to there, basically. Yeah, basically up to there. You can get these arms pegged back in. Out to the side. Everything's friction, by the way. Rotation at the thigh on a cut joint. You have a full bend at the knee, but again, a very strange joint. I mean, everything's going to look weird on a super deformed figure, but you have ankle tilts here. Nothing back and forth. I guess you do. You can unpeg it. So if you wanted to get a toe tilt down, you could. That is part of the transformation, but there you go for articulation. He does have some feature here. Of course, he wouldn't be Optimus without his matrix. You can open up the chest, and there is the matrix there. It's done in silver, copper, or goldish color, and then blue. You can remove it. It's actually out when you first get it anyway. Here's what it looks like. And you can just bring these back together kind of at the same time and then close it. He also comes with his blaster here, also super deformed. A little bit of silver paint there. This also transforms, but it doesn't serve any purpose during transformation. So that folds down, this folds down, this opens up. So the theory is this is going to combine with some armor or some other parts to make an Ultra Magnus. Another piece that doesn't really use for anything is this knee joint right here. That's not used during the transformation, so maybe he has some add-on parts. I don't know. I'm not really sure. But if we get the gun back into its original configuration, he can hold it. And plug it in right here. And bang, bang. He can shoot some other super deformed figures. And for a quick size comparison, since I don't have anything else super deformed, there it is next to the New Age Optimus Prime. You can see he's actually shorter than the New Age, a Legend scale version of Optimus. But yeah. Alright, let's get him transformed into his vehicle mode. And just a forewarning, it is a relatively complex transformation. There's a lot of steps to it, so you do have to do it in sequence. I'm going to try to show you as clearly as possible. But let's start with the arm. So go ahead and unpeg the smokestack from the side. We're going to open up this panel here, and we're going to release this panel right here. You just open that forward. We're going to fold around on this upper arm joint, so fold this down while you're folding this up. There's a tab right here on the inside, so get that tabbed in. And we're actually going to do that 3 times, so we're just making a big long panel that's pointing to the outside. There's another one here, so tab that one in. And then there's one more, so we're going to rotate the hand to the outside. We're going to unpeg this hand. You want to rotate the hand in, or sorry, to the outside. I'm going to fold this panel up, fold this panel down, and this again, another plug-in right here. So 1, 2, 3 tabs that are going to extend this panel out to the side. All right, so it should end up with something like that. I can leave this up for now, but that's what it should look like. Go ahead and do the same thing on this side. I'm going to do that off camera. I'll be right back. All right, there he is with both arms ready, and next we'll work on the head, which is not what you would think you'd be working on, but that is what you need. And I recommend a spudger because there's some parts that you're going to need it for. But we're going to separate the crest of the head and the back of the head. So go ahead and get this right in between here. It is really tight. You can try with your fingers. Okay, I got it. But you want to get that detached, and you want to come to the back and get that detached. All right, fold those out. Leave those there for now because you want a little bit of room. Use a spudger, and you're going to get right in between here. So that's basically the part of his ear. Right, so fold that forward, and it is very intricate. So you're going to bring this down, open up this door, fold in the ear. Go ahead and do the same thing on this side. And now we're going to take care of all of this. And it does get messy, so fold that down. We're going to open up this. You can see there's the front of the truck. We're going to split this. And again, you can use a spudger if that's too tight for you. And we're going to open up this. And this is all going to come down. And you want to peg this into the top here. But first we got to release these side panels. So we're going to take the top of the arms and rotate it so it ends up like this. So you can see there's the other fog light there. So same on this, open this up and then fold down this so it ends up like that. Right? Now we can take this is going to come down, and I mean it looks like what you're trying to do, right? It's going to plug in the top here. And this can be a little tricky, to be honest. Make sure you have these down to the side too. But this connection likes to pop out, but that's what it's going to look like. Something like that. Then you can take this, and that's going to plug in right there across the top. All right, don't close these yet, and don't close the doors yet. Leave these facing backwards. And now we'll take care of, let's see what happened here. Okay. Now we'll take care of the bottom part here. So we do have to detach this. And I showed you that during the articulation. Basically you want to separate this. I do recommend a spudger here because it's a tight tab and I want you to put unnecessary stress on it. So you're just separating these 2 tabs from up here. Okay, so open this up. This part gets very confusing in the instructions, so I'm going to try to show it as clearly as I can. Alright, So we're going to lift up on this faux chest, get that up and out of here. I'm going to rotate that around. That's going to come back down. And we're also going to pass this through, little white piece, pass that through the hole. And then you're going to bring this back down, and it's actually going to tab in right here. It's a very strange sequence in the transformation that can get confusing. Then on top of that, you have to rotate the waist 180 degrees. So you need to do both those steps. If you don't, you're not going to get it transformed. All right, so you're rotating this and you're rotating the waist. Now we can do the rest. The legs are kind of the last thing, so I'm going to wait to get that done so we can work on all of this. So make sure you have all these panels straightened out, lined up. These are actually plugging into the sides. You can see there's a tab and a slot right there. So get this lined up and you can tab that into the side and it should sit kind of flush. And this has a sequence too, so it's kind of an annoying sequence to be honest, but make sure the ear is in there. All right, so you're going to first open up this wheel, fold this down, fold this down, fold this down, and then, I forgot to fold on that panel for the door, and then close down the door, then close up the wheel. It has to be in that sequence, otherwise it won't, like things will collide. Not a big fan of that, but. All right, so let's do the same thing on this side. All right, next we'll take care of this back piece here. So there's two little tabs are going to go through here. There's a slot here on the side of the white piece that's going to tab in right here on this red piece. So you're trying to get this tab on the red into the slide. So go ahead, get this in between. Make sure you have this white piece through the hole. And then give this a squeeze. That's going to hold that piece in place. This is going to come down and just sit on the top of the head and tuck away there. This piece right here is actually going to lift up and out, but it's easier to do it now than later. So I recommend that you pull this up and out now. Because later it's going to be hard to get it out. And just leave that up. We'll take care of all of this. Now we can take care of these. You can just set those on the inside like that. So the smokestack's going to sit that way. And now we'll take care of the legs. So go ahead and open up this panel right here, the knee. You can fold this panel down, which will allow you to take this, open this up. And we can put that all back. And like I mentioned, there's some extra panels here. I'm not really sure what they're really for, but this is going to tab in right here on the side like that, and that's kind of what holds the leg forward. Open up this, you can see there's a tab that's going to go into the back of the gas can, and open up this foot, and this is going to come forward and tab in right there. So give that a nice tab. And then this panel right here is going to come to the inside and sit under here, just like that. All right, but that's what you want. Go ahead and do this side. I'll get that done off camera and be right back. Right now that we got both legs configured like that, we can take care of this thing. So bring this down. There's two tabs that are going to go into the back of this. So this kind of pulls out. You have to do it to stretch it past and then get it pegged in. This will peg in nicely into the back there. And then you can just make sure everything's all squished together and tabbed together. This panel is just going to come down and sit right here. All right, there is Truck Boy in truck mode. And he does have some nice paint on it. We got the metallic blue windows on the sides and the front. Yellow paint here for the fog lights. Yellow paint here for the fog lights here. Silver across for the grill and the lights and the bumper. Go to the side. You can actually open up the door, which is kind of neat. just because of the transformation. So if you wanted to display it, you obviously can't put anything in there. Actually, can you open up this ear? I guess you could open up the ear and pretend. I don't know. But you can't open up the door. Here's the back. No taillights or anything, and it actually looks quite unfinished back here, at least in my opinion. The back of the truck. It looks okay from the side, the front, and even the top is okay. There's a lot of holes back there. But from here and any angle back here, it just looks unfinished. Typical for a lot of primes, but for Magic Square, I was expecting something a little more finished. You can take the gun here. That will plug in right here. You want to support this, but you can put that in there. You can tow that around. It does roll nicely on those wheels. And for a quick size comparison, there it is next to the Earthrise Optimus Prime. Similar in size. Let's see, a little bit shorter, a little bit lower in height, about the same width. So it's definitely not Legends scale in terms of the vehicle mode, but that's to be expected with a super deformed. By the way, I figured out you can store the gun like this. Looks a little bit better like that. So maybe that's the purpose for it, but there you go for comparison. So final recommendations on the Mukudo and Magic Square Truck Boy. And I struggle with this one, but I think I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5, a partial recommendation. Not because it's not a good figure in terms of quality. Everything works, all the features and functions, articulation, everything just works. But it's just a little too awkward in both robot mode and vehicle mode. In robot mode, it's just a little too blocky and chunky. It's got a lot of chunk, and that's just to allow him to transform. So you don't get the smooth edges like you do normally on a super deformed style figure. And then in vehicle mode, he suffers a little bit because he's, this awkward size and shape. There's some things left to be desired, especially on the back of the truck, which is typical for Optimus figures. So it's just a little off, but if you're a collector of super deformed stuff, I think you're really going to love this, because how often do you get a transforming super deformed figure? If you're not, you're just Optimus collector, this one might be hit or miss, depends on your tastes. Me personally, it's not something I'm going to collect. I am an Optimus Prime collector, but this one just isn't for me. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Matt, Parts Former, for sending us for review. We'll see you next time.